Was AJ Johnson and Colby Jones the centerpieces of their trades? Intriguing. Wizards, we're gonna do the Wizards and Nets recap from last night. Wizards lost to Brooklyn. Come on, let's rock with your boys. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, aka BScott, and my guy Abdullah, aka AB. And tonight we got a lot to talk about. The question is tonight: was AJ Johnson and Colby Jones the centerpieces of their trades? I think so. And we're gonna get into the recap from last night's loss. It was a close loss, but hey, that's why you play all four quarters, man. So there were bright spots. So AB, the big question tonight, man, is: was AJ Johnson and Colby Jones actually the centerpieces of the trades? Why or why not? And who impressed you from last night's victory or victory loss? And it is kind of a 2-3 part question, but how important is playing four quarters? So I threw a lot at you. What you got?
Yeah, no. First, I just want to say AJ Johnson, Colby Jones. I want to give credit to you, B. You talked about it. You talked about it a lot. A lot of people kind of giving you some shade too. I remember it was Kings fans, at least with Colby Jones, and I mean both of them. Those in that fourth quarter, they were bringing this Wizards team back. AJ Johnson with a career high, Colby Jones with 3 steals, and again, you can talk about the late turnover out of bounds, but hey, man, it's experience. That's what we love to see. These young guys still being able to fight back in a season where you're not making the playoffs, but you're still going out there and still giving it all your all, and you just love to see. You really love to see it, and I just can't wait to see how they fit in this timeline where we get that top 5, top 3 pick. You add in some other young guys in the upcoming years, and just can't wait to see how they make an impact. And you gotta give Will Dawkins credit. You know, a lot of people give this man a lot of hate for how he handled the Porzingis trade, the Tyus Jones, the Kuzma situation, JV, but come on, man. In a weak draft, still getting AJ Johnson, picking up Colby Jones. Who thought this coming? Legit, who thought this coming? So, again, I can't wait, and I love to see how they fit here in D.C.
Nah, I agree on all points, man. I usually don't toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot it. Toot. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, that I told you about Colby Jones and AJ Johnson, and they are, in fact, the centerpieces of the trades. I mean, when you look at the Milwaukee trade, I mean, Chris Middleton, he was a salary filler. Let's be real. And there's nothing against Chris. I mean, obviously, but the thing is, if Chris was still the Chris of the NBA Finals run, he wouldn't be a Washington Wizard. Let's be real. I mean, there's a reason why he was a salary filler in this trade. Because when you look at the fact that what the Wizards are trying to do as far as accumulate young talent, the centerpieces of the young talent. And I think that Chris Middleton has done a great job being that veteran. He still has gas left in the tank. Come on now. I mean, he still can contribute. Is he still that guy? Nah, and it's okay. We know what he is and we know what he can do. And he can definitely be a contributor for his team, whether, he sticks through next year or he's traded at some point in the offseason. A lot of options on the team, but he's a guy who has definitely been a really good mentor and a very good veteran piece on his team. So, but to me, he wasn't a centerpiece. When you look at the Sacramento Kings trade, sitting on the Valanciunas to Sacktown, obviously Alex Linden, he didn't play. He was waived, but the centerpiece was Colby Jones. And that's why I'm saying that, I definitely encourage people to look at G League games. Look at some of this talent in the G League. There's 2 types of players in the G League. There are young prospects who one day could be a star, and 2 guys who need that second or third chance. The Chris Dunns. Forget, hey, Chris Dunn was on the Capital City Go-Go, and then he got a big contract in Utah. A guy who was, a lottery pick at one point by the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it's like minor league baseball. If you're a baseball fan, I encourage you to go to minor league games because you're looking at the future of your league. I'm a big minor league baseball guy, man, because I've seen a lot of top-end talent playing the minors, man. I've seen Julio Rodriguez as the minor league, man, and he's a star in Seattle. I mean, the list goes on. I saw Juan Soto when he was in Hagerstown. So it goes back to the point where, don't discredit these guys because they're G Leaguers. There's a lot of high-end talent in the G League. Just there's a lot of those diamonds in the rough. I say it all the time, diamonds in the rough. That talent that a lot of people often overlook. Colby Jones didn't ball, man. 2-way guy, a guy who can flat out score at all 3 levels. Come on now. And they had him in the Stockton Kings in the G League. Come on now. I mean, AJ Johnson played a total of 48 minutes for Milwaukee. Now, I think that he couldn't, but between him and Bub, those are the reasons why you probably don't go guard at all this draft. I think you'd have to go wing if it's not small forward or power forward. Because I think that AJ Johnson, and yes, I get it. He's getting significant minutes now, and he's playing teams like Brooklyn. But you see the potential. That's 4 first-round picks in his previous draft, AP. So let's talk about AJ Johnson real quick, AP. There was some questions thrown at him. Shout out to Joshua Vetta. Shout out to all the people out there in the media that cover the team, man. A lot of good folk out there doing what they're doing. A lot of questions were, do you think you could be a superstar? And he said, look, I need to put in the work. That's what I want to hear. So look at AJ Johnson. When it's all said and done, what do you think his long-term piece? You think he could be a point guard? You think he could be a shooting guard, or do you think he's going to be kind of a combo guard off the second unit? What do you think truly could be his ceiling, maybe?
I definitely could think a combo guard off that second unit because again, the man is very athletic, and we talked about probably the best handlers on this team. And if he can develop that 3-point shot, I mean, legit, man, this dude is bouncy. Like, not a lot of people in this league have a guy like AJ Johnson on their team, and it's just so funny because recently on NBA Twitter, I've seen people finally acknowledge who this man was. Like, just look, this dude's Wizards tape is this only for 2 months, which is again is insane, legit insane. And defensively, he's playing both sides of the ball. Like, he's checking off every box. And if you're a Wizards fan right now, how can you not be optimistic about these young guys? Because again, we've been in a situation where these guys like AJ Johnson, Colby Jones, they're on this team. They don't grow on trees, man. And again, this front office, you have to have faith in what they're doing. And doing this again in the offseason where it was a weak draft, you're still trying to figure out where you were culture wise. Legit, I literally can't wait till year 3.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think year 3 they're definitely gonna see some progress. And like I said, there's some hard decisions in the next couple of years. When you have a point guard situation or a guard situation where you have Jordan Poole, a guy hasn't hit his prime yet. When you look at Bob Carrington, definitely a steal in his previous draft. When you look at AJ Johnson, a guy who's overlooked by a lot of teams, and he's putting people on notice, letting people know that yes, they're seeing. And look, he's not a finished product. I mean, let's be real. JP13's not a finished product. He's still developing. He's still a young player. I mean, you can still mold these guys. I mean, all 3 of these guards, Jordan Poole, Bob Carrington, AJ Johnson, all of them are versatile. Play the 1, play the 2, play off ball. They can be that floor general. They can stretch the floor. I mean, every one of them, you see defense. I mean, Jordan Poole last year was not a good defender. And then when you look at the backcourt with Tyus Jones, it was a terrible defensive backcourt. But now he's put the work in. I mean, you got to give him credit where it's due. I mean, he put a massive work in on his defensive game. So, and then when you look at Bub, you see the scoring first glance, but he's a good defender. AJ Johnson, he needs to fill into his body. He's still young, man. I mean, he looks like he's about 14. And it has nothing against him, man. I wish I still looked like I was 14. But, I mean, let's be real. He's a baller. He can play. I mean, he's got massive potential. And that's what I'm saying. He was definitely the centerpiece in that trade. And there's nothing against Chris Middleton. Look, I'm a big Chris Middleton fan. Always have been. I mean, do they win that championship without him? No, they don't. I mean, Giannis was the face. But let's be real. Chris Middleton, a guy who I believe he was a G League guy, too. Let's be real. Chris Middleton started out in the G League. So he wasn't getting consistent minutes when he started out with Detroit. So, he's another guy where, the G League can mold these guys. That is a minor league team. And the Capital City Go-Go has done an immaculate job, continuing to develop these guys, continuing to get these guys ready to play at the highest level. I mean, they're the big reason why Jordan Goodwin got that contract. A big reason why Jared Butler got that contract. Justin Shimpany, why he got a big contract. And Colby Jones, to me, is the next guy up because he's a 3-level scorer. Colby Jones, I'm saying, man, I'm very excited to talk to the guy, man. If not before exiting interviews, but obviously exiting interviews, I'll be able to talk to everybody. But I definitely want to chat with Colby Jones, man, because he's a nice, intriguing young prospect, man. And AJ Johnson's a straight dog. Like I said, straight dog. So we're in a good situation. All right, I kind of mentioned him already, AB, Colby Jones. Now, looking at the situation with the salary cap and certain hard situations as far as like these gray area guys like Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, as far as having 2 years left in contract, but when it's all said and done, Colby Jones, do you see him as a guy who could be challenging maybe Justin Shimpany for minutes on the second unit going forward?
No, without a doubt. Again, I mentioned 20 points, but 3 steals, 4 assists. The defensively, for so long in DC, we've been talking about defense. Where's the D in DC? And hopefully we got to see some improvement going this offseason. But when a guard like him who can score and getting 3 to 4 steals a game, again, like what can't you not like about that?
I agree 100%, man. And it's like I said, looking at some positives from the game, the 115-112 loss last night. And I was actually supposed to be at the game, but I needed to breathe, man. So I actually took the night off, man. I needed to breathe, man. I needed one of those weekends. So I will definitely be there for this the home finale against the 76ers, man. So like I said, my apologies, but hope y'all understand, man. Your boy needed a breather. So but looking at that 115-112 loss last night, you got to play all 4 quarters. But like I said, there were bright moments. I mean, I hate to say that, it's tough selling people on that point. We lost the game, but yes, we lost, but there were bright moments, in my opinion. So let's pull it up real quick. Again, AJ Johnson, 20 points, 6 for 14 for the field, 3 for 7 for 3, baller. Alex Sarr continues to, not a bad game, 12 points, but Two names on the second unit really impressed me real quick, AB. 20 points for Colby Jones and Jalen Martin, man. I mean, are you a big fan of Jalen Martin? I mean, I'm fast becoming more and more a fan of him, man.
No, of course, man. Because again, another young guy that's just not talked about enough. And again, these moves that this Wizards team is making right now, it's about let the youth movement, let these young guys play, and see who's taking advantage of their opportunities. And I love to see it, man. Martin is one of those guys outside of Jones and Johnson.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I am with you 100%, man. So some other people to look at real quick. Not the best night for JP13, 2 for 8 from 3, 2 for 9 for the field. 6 for 6 from the charity strike, 1 turnover, so just wasn't his night, man. Shot just was not dropping. But like I said, it was good to see these young guys kind of step up. AJ Johnson stepped up, Colby Jones stepped up. So like I said, another one bites the dust. We are now at a record of 16-58, and the finish line is within sight. So all right, everybody, we're gonna get in the comments, but before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like watching basketball live. Good Lord, let me tell y'all. The energy of the crowd, the sound of the sneakers on the hardwood, and even a celebrity sighting courtside from time to time. If you want to catch a game in person, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. And like I said, I've been grabbing tickets from MLB, man. And I'm trying to tell you, Gametime is definitely the spot. Many reasons why. Look, Gametime's new feature, Gametime Picks, filters out all the fluff and shows you only the best deals on the great seats, so you don't have to waste time scrolling through all the trash seats, right? You get a view from your seat and a lot of amenities. Like, for example, I got tickets for the Washington Nationals and the Baltimore Orioles. So I got us some nice seats, man, where there's food and drink included, man. So it definitely gives you all the information you need to know, what the perks are, where your seats, everything you need to know, man. So look, do yourself a favor. Take all the guesswork of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime, baby. All right, it's going to be a short one, y'all. Like I said, definitely appreciate everybody waiting until today. And like I said, my apologies for not being at the game. But like I said, I hope y'all understand it, brother. Had a break, man. So let's get into it. Jimmy Go Outside says, I was just about to comment on the last video with Greg about AJ. AJ just said, you building around me, fools? I mean, AJ Johnson can play. But like I said, I get there's some excitement with him. That he is far from a finished product. And you can't really point to any of these young guys and say there is one guy who is. All these young players, all 5 draft picks under Will Dawkins and AJ Johnson and Colby Jones, you can even argue to a certain degree, City Bay and Jordan Poole can still be molded. It can still be developed, man. Looking in the event of, JB13, fringe all-star in City Bay, I think he could definitely be a key contributor. Locked on Law says, when did AJ become a 30, 10, and 10 guy? You build around those guys, not role players. We've tried to build around role players before. It worked out exactly as badly as it should have. I'm not advocating you build around AJ Johnson. I get there's excitement, you know what I mean? But I'm not advocating in any measure that he is the guy to build around. And he would understand. It's not throwing shade. It is what it is. Like, he's very intriguing. He's got massive potential. But are you kind of echoing what I'm saying, AB? Like, I'm not ready to say he's like that center.
Nah. Obviously, we got to see more consistent performances. But again, like, it is a little too soon because we still have a big core with Sarr, Coulibaly, and hopefully Cooper Flagg.
Cooper Flagg. And we're going to talk about Cooper Flagg, man. Let's see. Lock the Law says the only player on this roster you could possibly build around if he continues to develop is Sarr. Bilal can't shoot. Keyshawn's a dog, but he's a role player. I agree with that. Bilal, when he adds a jumper, he's definitely going to kick his game in a higher gear, man. And I think he will put the work in. But Sarr is probably the closest guy right now. I have to agree with that. Bilal is, definitely. I think if you pick up a guy like a Cooper Flagg, if you pick up a guy like a Ace Bailey, or even a Dylan Harper, I think that you're probably going to have 3 young faces in Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr, and whoever we pick. And you still got Bob Carrington. You still got. I mean, we have such in my opinion, probably one of the best young cores in the NBA. Let's be real. Because again, AB, like you said before, you're able to get really, if you add in AJ Johnson, 4 high impact players in a weak draft. So look, I'm just saying, Will Dawkins is playing chess, not checkers. Just saying. Bucket Getter says JP, AJ, Bilal, Flagg, Sarr, playoffs. I mean, hey, shout out to my guy Bucket Getter. I definitely appreciate the comment. I gotta say this, man. Let's talk about Flagg a little bit. I'm gonna say this. He's 18 years old, and I think that people really have to kind of measure realistically what to expect from the guy when he comes onto the team, man. Whether it's in Washington, whether it's Charlotte, wherever he goes, He's 18. He's not going to be that high impact guy contributor from day one. He's got, he still has a lot of work. I mean, I like Flagg. And don't get me wrong. Like there's, when you look at a lot of people with this draft, you're either a Flagg guy, a Harper guy, or an Ace Bailey guy. But to me, Flagg, what really scares me, and I'm gonna get your take on this real quick, AB. What scares me is the hype. The hype does scare me a little bit because you don't see the same hype on Dylan Harper or Ace Bailey. Obviously, them going to Rutgers not being an NCAA tournament team, man. But the hype does scare me because I think that people are going to put a lot on this dude early on that he's not going to be this guy straight out the gate, man. He doesn't have the intangibles like Wemby does, man. Wemby, his size gives him a lot of advantage, especially with shooting over a lot. Most of the people in the league, he's got a height advantage over. And it's not to say Cooper Flagg wouldn't have success. He would definitely be the favorite for Rookie of the Year. But, I mean, are you kind of where you see why I'm hitting that, AB? Like, I think Cooper Flagg is definitely a generational talent, man. But putting a lot on him early on, I think it has more negatives than positives. What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely is. Because I am a big fan. It does suck because at the end of the day, he is 18 years old. All that pressure at 18 years old, it's happening with Zion, Wemby, LeBron James. But at the end of the day, if you're Cooper Flagg, you have to block out the noise and just say, hey, I'm going to go out there and ball. And if it does take some time, let it take some time. You don't want to go into a situation where you're trying to do too much too fast because, again, it's just not worth it because this man has the capability to be a Hall of Famer. Just wait till day one and take everything day by day, especially in D.C. where I feel like the city will mold in right in and just have to make sure to be so not too quick with the development, but make sure he's comfortable with everything here. And he's going to fit the timeline. Like, he's going to be that guy that if we get number one, he's going to be built around.
No, I definitely agree with that, man. And like I said, very few prospects come into the league as a rookie and have that type of impact. I mean, it's very rare, man. I mean, even LeBron, man, I don't know if anybody remembers, I'm going to go ahead and pull up his stats because shooting-wise, he was nothing close to what he is now. I mean, let's see. That's the playoffs. Lord have mercy. Regular season. So 2003 to 2004 was a rookie campaign of LeBron James. He shot 29% from three. And also his field goal percentage of 41%. So, less than the averages, man. Definitely 3.135. So, and it got better, obviously, as LeBron James. But still, I mean, nobody's going to have immediate impact. I mean, Wemby, yeah, but there's still parts of his game that you can develop. I mean, I think that he's young, man, and making it to where, oh man, we need you, like, playoffs day. I just don't see it. 2027, I think, is a year where we're going to sniff the plan. But and it's not. And look, if they prove me wrong and they make the playoffs next year, then I would be all the happier, man. But like I said, I think we can give him time to grow. Like any plant, man. When you crowd a plant, anybody knows anything about plants, if you crowd the roots, you will kill it. I'm trying to tell you, give it room to grow. And that's kind of my advice for a talent like Cooper Flagg. Shows you my age, man. I'm talking about planting. I'm just saying. And Valor said it's crazy to say AJ might have the second highest ceiling out of the rookies and sophomores. I can't say that, man. I mean, like I said, I get the excitement of AJ Johnson, but I mean, I need to see what he does next year. Like, this is a small sample size. He's going to extend the minutes right now. Playing teams like Brooklyn, you kind of expect him to have these break. Like, and there's nothing against AJ Johnson. I mean, he would understand. I mean, but nah, man, not the second highest. I mean, I still stand behind Alex Sarr and Bilal Coulibaly being 1 and 2, and Keyshawn George, man. I mean, he's pretty much in a head-to-head fight with Bob Carrington as a sleeper of the draft, in my opinion. And definitely was that guy Wells out of Memphis. He's another guy where there's some sleepers in the draft, and I think Keyshawn George and Bob Carrington are a couple of them. Excuse me. And then you can kind of see AJ Johnson, but I definitely want to see how he responds next year. That's what I'm looking for, man.
To me, I was going to say it's going to be interesting to see who's on the summer league team because you got some of these young guys, and then the draft picks coming up. So how are you going to find a way to manage to give playing time to a lot of these guys? Because you have these young guys coming up, but you also have these guys that are still trying to fit the mold. So I can't wait, man.
I'm with you, man. This is going to be one heck of a. You know what? Just because of that, I'm probably going to go to summer league, man. I'm going to go ahead and just put it in stone. I'm probably going to make it out to summer league because I'm excited about this team. I mean, you see how this is going to be a loaded summer league team, man. So that's not out of the realm of possibilities right now. Let's see. Locked on Law says you can't have dudes you get as throwaway pieces and trades be your highest selling players. And we had Clapback from Invalid. He says, I don't think he was a throwaway. Doc Rivers said Kuzma trade took so long because they liked AJ Johnson that much. I think Dawkins was pushing to get him. Oh, yeah. He was a centerpiece. That was what Dawkins was trying to get. I mean, Chris Middleton was a salary filler. Like I said, nothing against Chris. Chris is, exactly the piece we need, man. But I mean, he was AJ Johnson was the star of the show. So was Colby Jones, man. And that's what I'm saying. I encourage y'all, man. Hey, spend a little more time looking at the go-go. Spend a little more time looking at the go-go in G League, man, because there is talent in the G League that I'm telling you, there are stars that you don't even know yet. Let's see. My guy, No Breaks New, was good. He says, I think Poole stays, but I know y'all don't. Laugh out loud. Who has a ceiling? How a ceiling as point guard, Bub or Blur? AJ, I like that. Flagg feels more and more like the perfect fit. Sergeant, Flagg, Keyshawn, be cool. Poole is a solid 5. Now, man, I mean, you know me, No Breaks. I'm all in favor of Jordan Poole staying long term because there's certain factors that have impressed me. I mean, I think that he's very close to being an all-star. So I think the biggest thing is what's the next level in the contract. And like I said, I'm a big JP13 fan, but I'm not naive to the business of the NBA either, man. Like the better he plays, the more interest he's going to get, and he's going to get some interest. And when just like you saw with Denny, and just like you're about to see with Kispert, they're not going to say no to a good deal. And like I said, but kind of answering your question, who has the highest ceiling as a point guard? Right now, well, you're asking between Bub and AJ. To me, is Bub. Bub, right now, AJ looks more like a shooting guard, man. He's just got that Mamba mentality as far as being a scorer. He's got that scoring mentality. Not to say he can't be more of a distributor because he has shown flashes, but to me, right now, is Bub. And then overall, right now, obviously, Jordan Poole. Even though Jordan Poole can play just as good off ball like he can with the ball. So, and it kind of and Locked On Law kind of echoes what I'm saying. It says, I think Poole is going to cost too much for them to keep him. I mean, look, I know a lot of people have PTSD from max contracts, but that's probably what it's going to take. I mean, that's just being honest. It's going to take a max contract to keep him. And if they think that he's worthy of it, then maybe they make their deal. But there's the thing. When his contract expires, Bilal's the first guy up. If you sign Jordan Poole long-term and you sign Bilal, that's money already been spent early on in the process. And that's what I'm saying. When you exclude Jordan Poole, when you exclude Sadiq Bey, when you even exclude Corey Kispert, you've got 5 players right now that eventually going to have to be paid. You add in 4 more first-round picks in the next couple of drafts. That's 9 guys, prospectively, that you have to pay. Out of those 9, 3, maybe 4 are going to be long-term pieces. And that is what it is. 3, maybe 4. You're not – every young guy you see right now, A.J. Johnson – could not be. I'm just being real, AB. I mean, you got 9 guys that you're not going to be able to pay everybody. Even if you go into luxury, Ted's not going to go through the biggest luxury tax in the history of the NBA for 9 guys. I mean, you got to do the math, man. So, I think that, Poole could be expensive. And like I said, I'm a big JP13 guy, but he, of all people, knows the business in the NBA, man. I mean, how did he get here? He got traded. I'm just saying. So he knows what it is, man. Bugger says, I don't see the reasoning for losing Poole. Who's our best player and he's in his prime yet, B. No, I get it, man. Like I said, my points for keeping him is because he's a talent that hasn't even hit his prime yet. He's a guy who's on the fence of being an all-star. He's a guy who he looks the part. Now, can he be kind of a 1A, like a co-star? Yeah, absolutely, man. I can see that, but they're going to get some deals, man. And I definitely think that Will Dawkins is going to be very, very aggressive with any prospective deals. So, AB, we're going to finish the rest of these comments, but before we do, we are going to take a short break. Good Lord, that was short. All right, let's get back into it. All right, so let's see, guys. Just like the young guys, we can't get to every comment, but we're going to try our best tonight. Paul Boxing says, if we can't draft one of the top 3, Danny Wolf or Dink Pate, we would be cooking with hot fish grease. I agree. I love me some Danny Wolf, man. I mean, he screams Jokic. I'm trying to tell you, he's the best passing big man I've seen in a while as a college prospect. Have you been able to?
I was about to say, but he's been starting to get more praise, especially I guess the March Madness. His ability to move with the ball as a 7-footer that fast. I mean, he can move. He can move. He's smooth. And again, why not another 7-footer on this team? Again, you have someone. You already have faith in Alex Sarr being that guy for the future. Tristan Vucevic has been proving why he'd be that backup role. But why not throw in some more competition, man? I love to see it compete.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like I said, when you look at mock drafts, they rise and fall all the time. I mean, the NCAA tournament is when you really see some of these guys perform with the lights are the brightest, man. Like I said, the better your team is and the better your performance in the bright lights, because like I said, that's probably the closest thing college-wise, outside like rivalry games. I mean, nothing beats UNC Duke type of environments, man. But the NCAA tournament for a lot of these schools is the closest thing to the prime time, man. So that's where you really see what people are at in the clutch, man, in the bright lights of the tournament. So Kevin Colbert, or Colbert, either one, I guess. This is a good, promising young group of rookies. We have to keep 2 solid veterans, preferably Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton. I like what I see from AJ and Kobe Jones. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, man. I definitely encourage everybody to look at a lot more Kobe Jones and AJ in their tape, the previous stops. Obviously, AJ didn't play so much, but definitely watch him the previous level he played. And Kobe Jones, when he played for the Stockton Kings, look at his highlights, man. He could play. Marcus Smart and Chris Middleton would be very intriguing pieces to keep around for long term. Will they want to be part of the process? We'll see. I think both of them know that they're past the part where they're going to get those big contracts. Maybe I think both of them have shown that they still got gas left in the tank, but they're not going to get their next big contract. I mean, maybe they wouldn't be part of this. I mean, like I said, when you look at veterans like Andre Iguodala, he was part of the Golden State Warriors in their rise, man. He was that one piece where he wasn't the Andre Iguodala from Denver or Philadelphia, but he was a guy he was that good piece, that piece that they needed, man. So who knows, man? You got to have a couple of veterans like Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart on the championship team. So if that is indeed what we're trying to do, you keep them around. What do you think, AB?
No, definitely, I agree. They from day one since they've gotten here, they made an impact, and that's the things. But prior vets where they were just one. I'm not gonna say who, but I think we all know who was just shot chucking and ruining development of these young guys. But again, when these guys come in, the young guys are just starting to play better. They're starting. The team overall, chemistry is up, and that's what you love to see. Marcus Smart, where still playing defense on a team where you're already not making the playoffs, and you're going to be you're going to have a top 5, top 3 pick, and still giving it all. And Chris Middleton having those late game heroics and those clutch shots at the end. So I love to see him, and you pair those with these young guys, and they can definitely learn a lot from them.
I agree 100%. You said chucking, so you must be talking about Zoolander. All right. I already know what you're talking about. All right, let's see. Lob the Coulibaly says, by the way, AJ was not a throwaway pick in that trade. He was a specific target the front office tried to get, and the Bucks were holding up on because they didn't want to give him up. AJ was a real target. Absolutely. That was what, that was news on the trade deadline. They were trying to hold on to AJ, and there's a big reason for that. He is going to be a stud. I mean, he's a heck of a young, promising prospect, man. Like I said, the explosiveness, the athleticism, man. At 3-point shooting. I'm saying, man, once he adds a little bit of muscle, I think he'll be just fine, man. Thomas Montgomery says, when you analyze the future core of this team, I don't see Poole as a future point guard. It would be too many people who need to get paid. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, big fan of JP13. I mean, like I said, I'm a big fan of his game. I think he's just an all-around good guy. But here's the thing, man. The business of the NBA. And it's going to cost some max to keep him. Let's be real. If you look at his trajectory, it's going to cost some max. I mean, look at his contract now. And like I said, I'm gonna ask you, AB. I'm gonna kind of get your take, but while I pull up the contract, but I mean, is that kind of where you're at, man?
Yeah, no. Again, like it does suck because I love JP13 and the fact that the improvement, while a lot of people are writing him off, and his ability to limit his turnovers in the offseason, get better defensively, and he went through a lot of criticism, and he's still stuck in and just put his head down and worked. And again, 26 years old, still, I don't think he's in his prime. I still think he has the ability to be an all-star next year. Probably gonna see some more wins though. But then at the end of the day, the Wizards, you're in a situation where it's just so much talent and, again, so many options, and we go back to it. That's a good problem to have. In DC, we haven't had that problem in so long. And if they truly think that they can't keep a lot of these guys, and JP is one of those guys that have to go, and you get a trade package where you just can't refuse, I don't blame the front office for not doing it. We're doing it then.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. So looking at the contract now as it stands, JP13 this year is making $29.6 million. Next year, it is 31.8. And then the final year of his deal, the 2026 and 2027 season, he'll be making $34 million. So that tells me what? The next step is max contract. So, like I said, I love me some JP13, man. And like I said, if there's any, brings up a comment. There's a few good comments kind of bring up good points, man. Buck Getter says, depends on what Bilal's development looks like. That will determine his extension. Good point. That will determine how much they pay JP because those land on the same year. Yeah, absolutely. So Bilal has a lot to do with that. And like I said, you need to see something for Bilal. I think Be Cool, again, big fan of Be Cool. I think that, he can definitely be a star. But look, year 3, you need to see something. Because after year 3, if we're still waiting on him to develop a shot, that changes things. You know what I mean? You do not want to be in your expiring year still trying to, see if you got a shot. And I think he's definitely going to put the work in, man. You saw a lot of development from him. But year 3 is very, very important. So, like I said, I think Be Cool will be all right. Let's see, Lock the Law gives up his take. He says they did want to give up a player. They played less than 48 minutes in total. I don't buy that. Okay, I get it. Let's see. Thomas Montgomery says Bilal is considered the future. However, is there a world where he is moved if his offensive game doesn't develop? It's going to be tricky contract time if he does not develop an offensive game. Yeah, that's a good point. Like the JP and Bilal, their situations are intermeshed, man. Their destinies are intertwined. I mean, what happens with one affects the other. So that is all good points. I definitely agree with that. Lob to Coulibaly says I don't have to buy that. Okay, I'm not gonna get in an argument, man. But y'all do y'all thing, man. Let's see. Thomas Montgomery says you have to look at AJ's coach. It was Doc Rivers. Let's be real. Who has he developed? I mean, I guess I'll talk about the elephant in the room. He echoes like Phil Jackson to a certain degree. Like, Phil Jackson went from what MJ and Scotty to Kobe and Shaq, and then everybody wants to act like he's this mastermind coach. It's like I could have went out there and did that. I mean, this kind of echoes. I mean, was he won? He's won one championship, right? And that's with the Boston Celtics. And then he went to the Clippers. He was with the Magic before Boston, right? It was Magic, and then he went to Boston, the Clippers, the 76ers. I mean, good Lord. I'm with you, man. Nothing against Doc Rivers, man, but I'm gonna say it, man. I think he's overrated. I think that who's the GM out in Philly?
Daryl Morey.
Yeah. James Harden's his buddy. He's overrated as a GM. I mean, has he built a championship team? I think that if you really want to look at GMs who are up there who haven't won championships, you gotta look at Sam Presti. I mean, what's his name out in Utah, man? He's a good GM too. So I'm with you on that. Let's see. I definitely get it. Bucket Getter says if Bilal doesn't develop, his extension would be less. Yeah. I think we all. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on that. Let's see. All right, guys, we are on the 31-minute mark, so I'm gonna try to knock out 2 to 3 more comments. Let's catch on to somebody we haven't talked to yet. Carlo G, what's good, man? How you doing? He says, who do you say is our next all-star? JP Sarr, one of the rooks. In the last 10 or 15 years, we've had only Wall and Bill, but the future is promising, I believe. Oh, absolutely. I would say right now, Jordan Poole. I mean, he's probably the closest thing to an all-star. Out of the young guys, right now looks like Sarr. I think that a consistent three-point shot from Bilal is the one factor that holds him back. Bub, Keyshawn, would they be all-stars? I mean, I can see one of them being in a three-point contest. I can tell you that. Like, I think they're going to be high-end role guys. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like, you need role players to win championships. Everybody gets hurt when they're not the star. I mean, look, you look at Chicago. MJ and Scotty needed who? The role guys. I mean, you needed Dennis Rodman. You needed that enforcer. You needed those guards and B.J. Armstrong and Steve Kerr, right? I mean, they needed those role guys. Every championship team, your role players are probably the most important pieces. I mean, that's straight up. I mean, if you look at the Lakers, it was Rick Fox, believe it or not. I mean, your role guys are important.
JP in that 2022 Warriors final.
Thank you. JP 13 was a role player behind a dynasty, man. So, like I said, let's see, try to find somebody we haven't talked to yet. All right, Lamborghini. Liam, born in DC. Oh, yeah, from a distance, always looks like Lamborghini to me. They need to trade Poole this summer or next trade deadline. Okay, that's one take. And like I said, it's the business of the NBA. Like I said, the business, I mean, he's going to get interest, man. And while I'm a big fan of his game, man, like I said, there's a lot of choices in this team, and contracts are going to get tricky. But like I said earlier, AB, I definitely think that Bilal and JP, their destinies are intertwined, man. They both affect each other because if B Cool doesn't have the year that we expect him to have, that gives you that much leverage to probably bait JP. And if Bilal takes the next step, then they're probably going to prioritize his extension. And it's just is what it is, man. I mean, it's a hard choice because just like Denny, you've got to make those risky, hard choices, man. From what I've gathered, man, they really didn't want to trade Denny, but he had the most value. I mean, let's be real. And that's what I'm saying. That if it costs you Denny to move back into the lottery in a weak draft, then you got to expect we're going to have to give up a couple of guys and a couple of firsts, man, in a loaded draft to move back in the lottery. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, it ain't 2K, baby. Like you got to give a little to get a little, man. And if it costs us a guy like Denny Avdia to move back into the lottery in a weak draft, I mean, AB, I'm gonna ask you real quick, man. I mean, what's your expectations? I mean, if you were the opposing GM, what would be your asking price if you, let's say, if the Wizards want to obtain maybe the 8th pick or the 10th pick? What would be your price?
Again, as you're gonna have to give up a lot because at the end of the day, the Wizards right now, you see them, they're trying to build this contending team and build it from the ground up. So if you're opposing team, again, if you're Will Dawkins, do you consider even going back into that top 10? I don't see why not, because again, this is a strong draft, and you already hit on all 3 draft picks last year. So why not swing it again? And I have full confidence that he's going to. I just think it would make sense with the second round picks that we have. Why not? You want to get as much young talent as you can and try to build this contender as fast as possible. Because again, you brought it up how I know the owner. Why am I blanking out right now? Ted Leonsis. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Ted Leonsis doesn't want the Caps and Wiz to be bad at the same time. And I didn't even think about that, but that's a great point. So he in his back of his mind is obviously he's letting Will Dawkins and his team do his job, but in the back of his mind, he's probably pushing that agenda where he's like, "Hey man, like we got to do this fast before that number 8 retires."
Yeah, man. I mean, look, you got to make hard choices, man. You got to make a hard choice, and the hard choices are on the horizon. Don't get it twisted. I mean, I think that Will Dawkins has done a great job, but the real work is still ahead of him, man. We still got a ways to go, and like I said, you have to make those tough choices to get where you want to get in life, man. Like it has to be 100. Like the move back into the lottery in this draft will probably cost you JP 13. Let's be real. High end talent about to be an all-star. It's gonna cost you to move back in the draft, man. And that's what I'm saying. You know, a lot of people saying, grab Cooper Flagg and go and come back and get Derek Green. That's easier said than done, man. Because if we value Derek Queen, other teams are gonna value Derek Queen. And after the NCAA tournament, not only is Derek Queen, but guys like, Danny Wolf's going to move up. He's not going to be available, and with the Memphis pick, it could be, I think last time I saw it, at best 18th. But, like I said, nothing's guaranteed because after the NCAA tournament, man, people rise and fall depending on how they do. So, all right, man, we're at the 36 mixed mark. So, I'm going to try to knock out one more. Super Flaherty says Cooper Flagg is the next all-star. We'll see, man. He's definitely got the potential, but like I said, don't put too much on the young man. Definitely give him time to grow.
I was gonna say, one point I forgot to mention. The Wizards only had 6 turnovers against the Nets. The Nets had double that, so that was great to see. Even with all the young guys playing, they'll having 6 turnovers again. Hopefully, they can continue that going into the offseason and next year.
Absolutely. So we got a few shout outs real quick before we roll. John Hipkins says, "Hey, bro, can't wait to chop it up with you on Tuesday." Yes, we will be having special guest John Hipkins on the show, man. So definitely excited to chop it up with you, bro. And then we didn't mention, man, JP13 he made some history last night, man. So definitely shout out, definitely congrats to you with your personal achievement, man. So like I said, he's doing his thing this year, playing at the all-star level. So definitely congrats to JP13 on his achievement last night. So all right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. Now tomorrow, the Wizards are playing. So let me go ahead and pull up the schedule like we always do. Bear with me. So obviously, we're going to give you an itinerary what to expect the rest of the week, man. Because like I said, guys, the finish line is within view, man. So bear with me, everybody. My bad. Pulling up now. Let's take a look at the schedule. So, all right, guys. Tomorrow night they are home against the Miami Heat. So it's a 7:00 tip-off. So we will be going live around 9:30. Wednesday they're home against the Sacramento Kings, 7:00 game. So same 9:30 live. And then next Thursday, they will be home against the Orlando Magic at 7. So again, live at 9:30. I also will be recording with special guest Big Poole of Little Brother, man. My guy, Northern Virginia's finest. So definitely excited to chop it up with my guy Big Poole, rapper Big Poole, that is. So definitely excited, man. So we got a lot of guests coming up, man. So and then the last home game of the year will be Wednesday, April 9th. So I will be there, and then obviously shortly after that, they will be doing exit interviews with all the players and the execs. So your boy will be there up front and present. So, all right, everybody, we're going to catch you guys tomorrow night at 9:30. Enjoy the rest of your night. Hail to the Wizards and peace.